me. Please rise and face the east for the Moorish American prayer. As we stand facing the east with our heels together and feet at a 45-degree angle, holding up 2 fingers on the right and 5 on the left, please repeat after me. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation. By night and by day. Through his holy prophet. Drew Ali. Amen. Islam Moors, I want to announce that this meeting is now open. This is the Moorish Science Temple of America, Temple 30, Columbus, Ohio. First and foremost, we rise, giving the highest praise to the Most High, our Father, God, Allah. We extend honors to our divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali, for bringing us our divine creed and nationality so that we may learn to love instead of hate. We extend honors to the forerunner, our brother Marcus Mosiah Garvey, for preparing the way for our prophet. And we extend honors to the Moorish and the American flags. We extend honors to the charter and its 10 wonders. And we also extend honors to the first appointed Supreme Grand Sheikh by our prophet, our dear brother E. Millie Ill. And we extend honors to all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, including all adepts, sheiks, and all the faithful Moors that make up this grand body of the Moorish divine and national movement. And we also extend honors to the current Supreme Grand Sheikh and Supreme Grand Council of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Islam Moors. Brother Jackson Bey, would you please read our divine constitution and bylaws?
Islam Grand Sheikh, I rise giving perfect praise to Allah, honors to the Prophet Drew Ali, honors to the forefathers and foremothers, and honors to the Asiatic nations and the Muslims all over the world. Salvation, Allah, unity, the Moorish Science Temple of America, the divine constitution and bylaws. Act 1, the Grand Sheikh and the chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce law with the assistance of the Prophet and the grand body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2, all means are to be open and closed promptly according to Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on the Friday, the first man was formed in flesh. And on the Friday, the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3, love, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Science Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister because Allah is love. Act 4, all members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government because by being a Moorish American, you are part and partial of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5, this organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6, with us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and partial of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slave holders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become part and partial of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean before them. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his father, God Allah. Noble Drew Ali, founder, Moorish American prayer, Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day. Through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. The Moorish Science Temple of America, Home Office at Noble Drew Ali, Home Office, Chicago, Illinois, USA. Islam, Islam, Islamism. Happy Holy Day, Muslims.
Islam and gratitude, brother. Brother Cole Bay, would you please read the writs?
Islam, Grand Sheikh, I rise to give perfect praise to the great God Allah, rise to give honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, rise to give honors to the forerunner, Marcus Messiah Garvey, the harbinger, rise to give honors to all ills and bays, all Muslims on the call and on the planet, to be proclaimed in every meeting. Islam, I am glad to know I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There is a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claimed that I was a joke and unreal. But now, since they found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that pay their divine respects to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance, and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nation of the world will not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Prophet warns all Muslims to be read in every meeting. I hereby inform all members they must end all radical speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be a severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings towards the temple or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their rewards from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and if the Prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The Prophet, therefore, is sending out a divine plea to all Moorish Americans to do their part in protecting the Prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the Prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Peace. Noble Drew Ali. To the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Islam, this is instructions from your prophet Noble Drew Ali. Be faithful unto your forefather divine and national creed, that you will be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is on now, but the weak can comprehend it not. The end of times are drawing near, so says Allah to his divine prophet, I, Noble Drew Ali, and that is why many hearts have turned to stone, many have eyes to see but cannot see, ears to hear but cannot hear, lest they'll be confined of their sins. These are the trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving, and they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors, Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temples. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good work. Peace. Your divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Islam, Islam, Islamism. Happy Holy Day, Muslims.
Gratitude, brother. We will now read the additional laws. Additional laws for the Moorish Americans by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Act 1. Grand sheikhs and governors and heads of all temples, all businesses. Each said temple must be approved by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Before acting upon by any members, let it be finance, property, or any line of life that will cause the members to sacrifice finances, etc., that will cause the support of any group of members. Any former officer that violates these laws is subject to be removed from his office under a heavy restriction, etc., by the Prophet or the Grand Sheikh. Act 2. All members are to attend their ADUP meetings and their public meetings promptly. If a member is found standing around on a meeting period, shall be fined 50 cents on the first case, and on the second he will be fined $1, which will go on your emergency fund. If member is working, his monthly dues must be paid, and if he has money in the bank, he must subscribe for as much as he is able to the Moorish Uplifting Fund, because it takes finance to uplift the nation. Act 3. And justice must catch you. Let it be he or she according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, as I have the power invested in my hands, and I will have to enforce the law to save the nation. Act 4. All members, while up making a public speech, must not use any assertion against the American flag or speak radical against the church or any member of any organized group, because we are to teach love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Act 5. All members must promptly attend their meetings and send their children to Sunday school, and the teacher must confirm himself to the questionnaire, and let every member exercise his 5 senses who is able to do so, because out from your Sunday school comes the guiders of the nation. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality in their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali the Prophet to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his Father God Allah. All right, Islam Moors, happy holy day. Before we get started, I just want to ask one question to the caller that says, Veronica, please let us know where you are calling from. If this is your first time using Zoom, if you're on a phone, you'll need to tap the screen to bring up the options so that you can turn on your mic and control, your camera and your mic and everything. Okay, you can also type in the chat too. But please share your name and location with us. And in the chat, please. Okay, just dropped off. Good. Okay, so let's go. We're going to be speaking in chapter 24 today, Morris. Hang on, let me bring this up for you. Okay, yeah, so we're going back to chapter 24. A few weeks ago, we were going over chapters 20 through, we went up to 23. And so chapters 20 through 24, speaking about family values. We don't have a nation without the family, right? This is where our nation begins and ends. It always goes back to the family. So these divine instructions in chapters 20 through 24 are giving us the lessons to set our house in order. We know as so-called Black people, we don't have those instructions. I mean, we can say that we have the Bible, right? But we don't have really our own instructions to keep our house in order, because the Bible didn't stop us from getting caught up in the ways of the world. It didn't prevent us from getting caught up in the ways of Rome, Western civilization. And the lessons that set our house in order, when we're speaking about our house, that's talking about our family. Okay, so the prophet is giving us these divine instructions to set our house in order, to make our family strong. The nation has to have strong families. There's no nation, right, if we don't get our house in order. Okay, and just going over some of the lessons from the previous chapters, 20 through 23, right? We understand what people used to understand. I don't know what people think anymore, but we used to understand, just as humans, that the backbone of the family is the man, right? So when our communities came under attack, the men came under attack, that made the families vulnerable, right? So the man is supposed to be guarding, not just physically, also physically protecting, but also guarding what propaganda is coming in. What are they trying to do to capture your minds, to program you to think, right? He's standing guard. He's always standing guard. So you remove the man, right? Now anything can happen. Anything, not just physical things like drugs and actually physical harm, but now all types of ways of thinking, philosophies, all types of things can come in, right, and attack. So you're left vulnerable. So the prophet gave us these warnings, and so he gave instructions to the men and the women, right? So one of the warnings he gave to the young men was to beware of unrestrained desires and the wrong woman, right? So unrestrained desires, on one hand, physically carnal, just wanting to have sex, that makes you weak. That opens you up to all types of dangers, or all types of unwanted situations can come about, right, from being unrestrained sexually, but also just unrestrained desires. Oh, I want to eat, middle of the night, get up, go and do it. Obviously, that's going to cause my body to have problems, right? Anything, right? Don't not disciplining ourselves, right, with time, right? The things that we're doing, it will always come back to hurt us. It makes us weak. Has anyone ever seen that movie, Wall-E? I think I talked about this before. Let me get a picture of that up here, right? Bear with me, Moors. This is all gonna make sense. So in that cartoon, it was a cartoon. right? They basically show you what type of future they want for us. And when I say they, I hate saying they, but look, man, there's people with billions of dollars with all these resources that are manipulating society, manipulating entire governments. And so they gave you a glimpse in this future, Wali, of what they want for us. Now, they show the planet was all destroyed. And so the humans are living in space because they got junk everywhere. They just, all these products, all this plastic and cardboard and just garbage. But look at what the humans look like in Wali. Okay. Oh my gosh. The humans, all the humans in this cartoon, in this future, they're all fat and they all, you know, like not making fun of fat people, right? But they're all morbidly obese and they all have monitors, screens in front of them. They're constantly being entertained. They can't do anything. They can't even walk no more. Everybody's so fat, they can't even walk. And they all are constantly being entertained, constantly having screens in front of them. Constantly. So they're constantly being entertained, overeating, eating products with junk, with, you know, stuff that has to get thrown away, more products. So they're all consumers. There's all these ads and advertisements everywhere. So it's just consume, entertain, right? Like they're being fattened up for the kill. And so this is the future being projected. And this is what's actually being put on us for real. And so I'm saying this for a reason. I mean, this is the, you know, this is what's being pushed on us, whether we realize it or not. Okay. And let me get back to this. So I'm saying this because it's not a joke, right? I mean, the movie, you know, is entertaining and everything, but it's not a joke because this is what they're actively pushing for us. Okay. And so getting back to this, that's what happens from unrestrained desires. So that's the opposite of these divine instructions that we're getting, teaching us to have self-control, right? The madness of desire shall defeat its own pursuits, right? Thou shalt rush upon destruction. So not being able to control ourselves, not having discipline, right? This will lead to our destruction, and it's happening. So that's why that would be the motivation for people that want to control you, that even want to destroy you, would be to, you know, to encourage you to have no discipline, right? So that you rush upon your own destruction. You can't even put up a fight. Islam, as the brother said in the chat, they're telling us what they want to do. And they're showing it, and we're going along with it willingly, right? They show it to the children. And now the children, they looking at devices all the time. They always got a screen in front of their face. And I'm not talking about your children, like mine are better, right? This is what we've allowed our own to do, even though we work to try to tell them better and show them better. They participated in this mess too. Always have to be entertained. They're entitled. They think they have to be entertained. Oh, I'm bored. You can't even chill for 5 minutes, right? Always have to have this stuff in front of them. So I'm saying is because this is unrestrained desires. It's the exact opposite of these divine instructions. So this truly was, you know, Allah's mercy to send this to us so that we have a voice of reason in the madness. This is why our children aren't supposed to be on devices right now or doing something else. They're supposed to be listening because nobody else is going to tell them this. Everybody else, hey, here, take this, eat this, be weak, be foolish, be stupid so I can slaughter you. This is what everyone else is telling them, right? And they don't even see it. They don't even understand what's happening, right? So they can all just be fat like pigs and get slaughtered. So this is what's being given to the people so they can't even put up a fight. All right. They need this just as much as we need this. Okay. So we get these divine instructions, right? We get these warnings. The prophet tells us who, he lets you know too, like, because it said, beware of those unrestrained desires in the wrong woman. He also said, who is the wrong woman? The harlot. I could pull up a million images of the harlot. That's what women are being trained to think it's cool. You need to be a harlot and you're rewarded with likes and stuff like this. So this is the wrong, we're being pushed in the wrong direction. We have to have these divine instructions. This is the only way to salvation, right? We can't throw this away, right? And the prophet instructed men is when you find the right woman, marry her, right? Don't play around. Don't take your time. Don't, prolong it for 10 years, right? Marry her, right? Somebody just got angry. Like, man, get out of here. Right? But hey, these were the divine instructions. It's not for your destruction, it's for your salvation. Why is he telling you to marry her when you have someone that's decent, right? Right? Because he lets you know how to know if you find the right one. She will, what virtues she's going to reflect, higher virtues. So when you see someone that wants to do what's right, marry her, because you're the backbone of the family. You have to set the standard, right? You have to, she can't be wondering, where am I going to go? Does he even want me? You have to set the standard like, yeah, I got your back, baby. We're going to do this together. You have to set it down because this is what we need in this day and age. Everything is all over the place. It's a bunch of foolishness. That's why Moorish American Muslims, and I'm not trying to be like all out of touch with reality. Like, I know you can't, like, in this day and age, come up to people, especially who aren't Muslims, talking about, I'm looking for a wife or I'm looking for a husband. I know that's not realistic. So you have to do that in your head. You have to know what you want in your head. But just moving forward, right? We're getting these divine instructions that, we're getting instructions for the women and for men so that we can have strong households and families, right? He's letting the woman know how to know if she's chosen the right man, because he's going to be a reflection of the prophet's teachings, right? Doesn't matter what he says, it's about what he does. Is he living the life? Is he trying to do right, right? So we're given the ordinance from Allah now to go and establish a family and become faithful members of society, right? We're given the duties of the husband, right? Cherish and respect the wife, produce children, the husband, the husbandly duties, right? To instruct the children to climb the 12-step ladder of virtues, right? So this has to be something that we're making a part of our life so that the mother can do this as well, because more than likely the mother's going to be the teacher of the children. And then we're giving instructions on now what the child is to do in return, to be grateful and assist and support their parents, right? And that's what we're speaking on today. But also, because I want to approach chapter 24 in like at least two different ways. So on one level, we're speaking about our families, our households, right? Our duty and our children's duty, right? But also, right, we're all Allah's children. So this applies to each and every one of us. Okay. And then going into this chapter and just going back, pulling back for a second and look at why we even do this, why we do this holy days stuff, why we do this Sunday school stuff, right? When the prophet introduced this to the Moors in the 1920s, and he said that Islamism is the old time religion. What he meant by this, he's taking us into something ancient that even predates what the Prophet Muhammad brought to his people, the Persians, right? Because what the Prophet Muhammad brought to the Persians with the Quran that he revealed, the Quran speaking about who? It's speaking about Abraham, Moses, Jesus, right? It's speaking about that same old time religion that was brought to the people. He didn't make something new. So when the prophets come in and he's bringing these lessons in the missing years of Jesus, he's doing the same thing. He's bringing something ancient. And what he's really returning us to, he's actually initiating us into the Egyptian mystery system. And he's doing it from a Moorish Islamic perspective. So we're being initiated into something, right? That's why it's not easy. That's why it takes a little time. That's why everybody ain't gonna stick around. Everybody's not gonna get it. Some people gonna drop off, and it's not a knock, and there's no judgment to people that drop off, but it just is what it is. We're not all built to conquer lower self in this lifetime. Some of us are not trying to keep coming back here, you know, not knowing who you are, struggling, going through life, getting caught up, and then have to come back and do it again. Some of us are ready to move on to higher levels. So we're here to conquer self. And so ultimately we're getting initiated into the Egyptian mystery system. I want to speak on something about that too, because this is actually being revealed here too, in the very first verse, chapter 24. And I'm saying this like with the professor, George G.M. James. He wrote the book Stolen Legacy, right? Some of you may have read this book before or had it. So this professor's a brother, right? He in the 1950s, and in there he speaks about the Moors and the Egyptian mystery system. If you don't have that, this is a great historical book to get, right? Very good book. A lot of wisdom and knowledge in here. Get Stolen Legacy by George G.M. James. I think he used to teach at Arkansas Pine Bluff University. Probably was an HBCU school. But in this book, he speaks about the Moors being the caretakers of the ancient mystery system. And he actually spoke about it. It was so prevalent that he spoke about it in the book more than once. So I'll show you a few examples, like in here. I don't know which chapter this is, but he gives an example going down here to where it's highlighted, speaking about the Egyptian mystery system. So the Egyptian mystery system, if you ask the ancient Egyptians, they would have told you that the Egyptian mystery system was even older than Egypt. It went back to an ancient civilization. And these were the last pieces of wisdom that survived the cataclysms that destroyed that civilization. And this is why Egypt was able to have an advanced civilization. They kept that system of learning. They kept it from leaving the planet when these old civilizations vanished. And so in order to come into this higher learning, which included physical science, spiritual, mystical science, your true nature of who you really are, in order to come in there, you got to prove yourself, right? You have to prove that you're advanced. You're not just a knuckle dragger here to just live out the carnal ways of life and, you know, just do as much drugs or whatever low level stuff that you want to. You have to prove that you have a higher mission than that. So that's what the Egyptian mystery system was, and it's what we've been initiated into. That's why we have the sacred brotherhood. We all become members of the sacred brotherhood when we become members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Some may say when you become members of the ADEP chamber, but I say when you become members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, right? When you become one of the faithful. So in here, just where it's highlighted, he's speaking about the mystery system and saying in the 8th century AD, that's in the 700s, the Moors, i.e. natives of Mauritania and North Africa, invaded Spain and took with them Egyptian culture, which they had preserved. Knowledge in the ancient days was centralized. It wasn't just everybody smart and knowing how to run civilization back then. Right? You had a lot of people that were struggling. They're trying to, you know, everybody didn't even know how to do agriculture. So knowledge was centralized. And that means that even though Egypt wasn't the only advanced civilization, everything belonged to the same culture. So if you had over here in Central America, if you had something going on where they had universities and temples and running water and stuff like that, it's because they had the same system that they had in Egypt. And so the Moors took this with them to Spain, and they rose that area up. So it's saying that knowledge in the ancient days was centralized. It belonged to a common parent and system, i.e. the wisdom teaching or mysteries of Egypt. Okay? And so the people of North Africa were the neighbors of the Egyptians and became the custodians of Egyptian culture, right? And then that spread throughout the world. And then another example right here. Speaking about it, I'm not going to read all of this, but just metaphysics, science, period.
Join the meeting.
Islam. So science, metaphysics, philosophy, all of that stuff. Anywhere you had any kind of advanced, civilization going on, whether it was language, mathematics, they had ties to the Egyptian mystery system, or else they wouldn't have had it, right? The people weren't just knowing this stuff just on their own, figuring it out. It was coming from something more ancient. Even the word alphabet, they had an alphabet, that's Aleph, Bet, and that's coming from ancient Phoenicia. So everything is, coming from, which is still coming from this ancient mystery system. Then again, here speaking about the Moors, in addition, the Moors kept up constant contact with Mother Egypt, right? They established caliphates, not only at Baghdad and Cordova, but also in Cairo and Egypt. They were also in other places as well. Just here, it would be well to mention that all the great leaders of the great religions of antiquity were initiates of the Egyptian mystery system, from Moses, who is an Egyptian hieroglyphic, down to Christ. We know from having the missing years of Christ's life that he went into Egypt to learn, right? So everyone had to have exposure to this Egyptian mystery system in order to have higher understanding, whether you're talking about math and stuff like that, or you're talking about spiritual wisdom. And so once again, this is what we're being initiated into. This is why we don't take this lightly. This is why those who are faithful, right, who hold to this, who've been coming even for years, this is why you're here. This is the real reason why you're here. Islam, for the person that called in from the 570 area code, please state your name and location.
Islam, brother AD's Bay, Miami, Florida.
All right, Islam, brother. Gratitude. Okay, just going in, another example. This is the last one from the same book, Stolen Legacy, speaking about the Grand Lodge of Luxor, right? That was on the banks of the Nile River in Upper Egypt, in the ancient city of Thebes, built by Pharaoh Amenhotep III, right? He's saying it was the only Grand Lodge of the ancient world, but then saying that it had major branches or minor lodges throughout the ancient world: Europe, Asia, Africa, North America, South America, and probably in Australia. And if that sounds crazy, in Australia, in that area in the Pacific Ocean, Australia, New Zealand, right, not too far from each other. What are the indigenous people called in New Zealand? Maori. That term Maori, believe it or not, I'm not just saying that comes from Moor, right, but it's connected to that because the Maori have their own origin being connected to Tamori, which is the name for Egypt, the ancient name for Egypt, right? You might have heard Kemet. That's just one name and for one area. That was the area around the Nile River where they had the black fertile ground that was like around the Nile, right? Kemet. That wasn't named for the whole area. It was called Tamori, right? It was the land of the Moors. And it's giving some examples, some of the other places, Palestine, Babylon, right? Athens, Rome, already said North America, South America, it says Central and South America, especially Peru. When you go to Peru, right? That's where you have Machu Picchu and these advanced ancient civilizations, right? So once again, going back to this is the ancient mystery school. They had that same system. They all had the same parent. All right. And then it was secret, the ancient mystery system. Why was it secret? Because that which is sacred is held secret. Why? Because you don't cast pearls to swine, not calling people swine. But when you are slave to your lower self, that means you're the beast. And so that's why the very first verse in here says, from the secrets of Allah, let man learn wisdom and apply to himself the instruction they give. From the secrets of Allah, let man learn wisdom and apply to himself the instruction they give. What does that sound like to you? Right? These very secrets, they're unknown, right? Concealed, not discovered. The secrets of Allah, they're found in this Quran, right? The sacred text, the sacred teachings. Remember, the prophet said that the keys were loosened, right? From Palestine, from India, from Egypt, for him to bring this to us. So this is the ancient mystery system, the secrets of Allah, right? And then there's a method to learning this. That's why it's not about just watching videos on YouTube and people thinking they sound smart because they got a bunch of, they got a bunch of words they can say, oh, I read this or I watched this video and I can repeat it like a parrot, right? But that's why we're giving lessons, which is going to turn a lot of people off. I don't keep saying this for no reason at all. The steps that we have in here, the 12-step ladder, the attaining of the virtues, that's going to turn a lot of people off. But if we're real about this, we want to obtain these virtues so that we can subdue our own carnal nature. We know that this is real when it says unfold Allah within us. We should all be motivated to do the work if you haven't done so on the side, to do the work on opening our own pineal gland, our own third eye. Prove that Allah is in you. Prove it. Don't just take my words for it. Don't just take the words from the Quran for it. Know that it's real, right? So that you understand how serious this is. So this is why it's not just, oh yeah, let's just all skip to chapter 47. See in there, it says that, the Americas, all of this is ours. Great, right? But how are we going to go about getting that back? By unfolding Allah within us. Then it doesn't matter that they derailed the train and, how they did another one in Springfield, right outside of Dayton. They did one in Arizona. They did some in Texas. They're doing all of this stuff. They got the chemtrails in the sky. You could go on and on and on about all the ways they're trying to kill us and mess us up, right? Like the big bad guy in the movie. How you going to overcome that? We're not even in power. Speaking about us personally, we don't even have a building, right? We got a lot of work to do. How are we going to overcome all of this? It seems like the y'all seen Space Jam with the monsters taking out the monsters. They are the basketball team, and then they're going against regular people, or they going up against Bugs Bunny and them, right? And it's like how they going to overcome that, right? So for us, how we overcome this is by realizing our true potential. You can't overlook the spiritual. Not that we're ignoring our earthly needs, right? Obviously, we do the best that we can to take care of our earthly needs and to improve our conditions. But by coming on in and let's do this work to unfold Allah within, nothing can hold us back. Nothing, right? This is how come some people too are able to come from extreme poverty terrible conditions and become extremely successful. It's not because they joined the Illuminati. Anytime you talk, like if you know any people that's wealthy, if you know anyone that's like actually wealthy, you know, started their own business, most of these people that you talk to, they'll let you know like they're into the power of the mind. That's what they're really into, realizing their true potential, realizing that they can overcome anything. So if we're doing this as a collective, nothing can stop us, right? So this is why the prophet brought us this first and foremost. So just going back into this, yeah, I want to approach this from two levels, because on one hand, these are direct instructions for us raising our children, but then also these are instructions for the adults too, right? How to realize our true potential. So that very first verse from the secrets of Allah, let man learn wisdom and apply to himself the instruction they give. So remember what we're really dealing with here, right? This is ancient. This is the Egyptian mystery system, and it even predates that. We want to apply these. We don't want to just read it out loud. We don't want to just memorize, right? Everybody needs to go back. Well, let me see. I'll share that picture we have of the 12-step ladder, but we all need to actually do this work on the side. We don't want to just look at the Quran together. We need to do the work on our side to actually, hey, let's focus on one virtue at a time, right? The brother Jackson Bey had a great idea about doing that, and that's something that we need to implement, like for the months. Maybe each month we work on one virtue as a collective, so that we're all doing that work on the side, because like it's really no time to play. Everything that you pay attention to, even though I don't recommend anyone be focused on all the negative news out there, because if you focused on that, you're just gonna start doing worse and worse in life, right? But you still need to be aware. So if you pay attention to what's going on, it's like there's no time to play. Like we really should get to work on doing this, you know, from a spiritual level, doing this work to unfold Allah within. So do the lower self, right? Because you can't be a Moorish American Muslim and be a slave to lower self. So we have to do that work. And also you could give somebody all the keys, but if they're slave to lower self, it won't do them no good. They won't really be able to accomplish nothing, right? So we want to apply the instructions to ourselves. Going on forward, go to the desert, my son, observe the young stork of the wilderness. Let him speak to thy heart. He beareth on his wings his aged sire. He lodgeth him in safety and supplieth him with food. Obviously, this is teaching our children, our youth, how to properly conduct themselves in a society that is rapidly declining. So even just 40, I'm gonna go back further than that. Even like say maybe like 60 or 70 years ago, it wasn't our culture to like put your parents in the old folks home, nursing center, right? That wasn't our culture. If they're slipping physically to where they really shouldn't be alone, then you just come together, whether you moving into their house or they move in with you. And then it's mutually beneficial, because if they still got some of their faculties, they can help out, right? Cooking or something, or watching the children or something. So we did that. And then with the grandparents and stuff, bringing them in. So that wasn't our culture, just send them off. And then when you send people off to these places, like I've witnessed this within my own family. So I have to be like, I want to be delicate about that. But when we send them to those places, then they tend to decline even faster, right? So that was not our culture, right? We assist. We don't send our people off to die. And so we're given this example where it's saying, was giving us the example of the stork, right? Observe the young stork. And as it says that, we remember that in chapter 10 of this same Holy Koran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, verse 9. It's letting us know that all the creatures, men, bird, beasts, and creeping things are deities made flesh. The exact words is, now men and birds and beasts and creeping things are deities made flesh. And how dare men kill anything? So it's letting us know to observe nature. Because everything, now you don't get that message everywhere else, right? We're getting to the truth. This is the old time religion. It's not just men that are Allah incarnated. Everything is. Men and birds and beasts and creeping things. We'll take it even further, because in chapter 1, we know that even the plant kingdom, right? Even the protoplasm, meaning even these singular cell things, these things at the microscopic level, they are all Allah manifested in the flesh, right? So we can observe nature even at the microscopic level and find higher learning, higher wisdom on how to conduct ourselves. So if the bird can do this, why can't you, right? The bird don't just leave them off to die, right? And so there may be some animals that do. It's just giving us an example of the stork. We know that the stork, historically from various cultures, is seen as one that interacts with the young, that brings the babies. You know, that's why they use the stork, is to be the one that brings the babies to the, to the people. So it's, it's associated with being a devoted parent, right, in various cultures. So that was just giving this to us, that, you turn around and you do reciprocity, right? They took care of you, now you take care of them. And remember, this lesson is the obedience of children towards the father. Obedience is the act of, or the practice of obeying to carry out or fulfill the command, order, or the instructions of your father. So on one hand, this is how all of our children should be for us, but then also these are divine instructions, meaning of or from Allah. So these are instructions for each and every one of us to carry out, right? So you're supposed to pay attention to the advice your father gives you to do and say it. You're supposed to trust and know that it's best for you, right? Even if you want to do something else, you have to trust, right? Your father's telling you to do this for your own good. It doesn't sound fun because you just want to do this other stuff, right? But the other stuff that you do doesn't work out for you. And it's the level for every parent to their children, but also that's for all of us, right? Divine instructions. We don't follow these, we suffer. Somebody else dropped out. Islam. Okay, so the piety of a child is sweeter than the incense of Persia offering to the sun, yea, more delicious than odors wafted from a field of Arabian spices of the western gales. Islam, can somebody let that brother back in? Piety, speaking on one's devotion, right? The reverence, the deep respect towards parents and family. Islam. And so this is the ideal, right? This respect and affection, because these are the people who care for you, who teach you. And then especially Moorish American Muslim parents, we're teaching you what nobody else is teaching you. Like, how dare you be unappreciative, right? And no knock to our parents or to, anyone else, but they didn't even tell us this stuff. They didn't even know. So how dare you be unappreciative to your parents? They're giving you higher wisdom, higher learning, right? They're trying to build a nation for you. You should have reverence for them, respect. And that's why this lesson is teaching us that you should want to assist, right? You should want to assist in building this. Nobody else built anything for you. We were handed down failure. What else did we inherit? Fear, failure. This stuff is still going on to this day. Oh, they killed another one. Let's go and march. Doing the same thing. Oh, I just saw some video or some picture with them with Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson and them marching in Selma, Alabama in 2023. Like, get out of here with that. This is what we got. This is what was handed down to us. That's what was handed down to our parents. That's why I'm not blaming the parents. That was handed down to them. We're 3-4 generations into this mess. So all we got was fear, failure, and just foolishness. And we're trying to turn things around, not saying that we created this. That's why we give honors to the prophet. But we're changing the script. We're giving something better. So how dare the children have anything but reverence for us? They should want to assist. Nobody else is going to do this for you. If we just stopped right now, we gave up because it's too hard, guess what? It's just going to get worse. They poison in the water. They poison in the air. Y'all better appreciate this. Everybody, if you have children, they need to be listening to this. You better appreciate this. Ain't nobody else trying to do anything for you. Nothing. Every little scrap you have, they want to take it from you. Come on, man. So these are divine instructions, right? They should be showing obedience, just like we should be showing obedience to Allah. He's coming to give us the right way, speaking through his prophet. Going to the next verse. Be grateful to thy father, for he gave thee life, and to thy mother, for she sustaineth thee. Right? So we're being instructed on the proper protocol, the proper way to instruct themselves. And nobody can deny this. This is the truth. Right? The father, scientifically, the sperm delivered to the mother grows the body within her, sustains it, even after you're born, breastfeeding, right? So this just off that alone, right? You've been nourished, you've been cared for, supported, right? Hear the words of his mouth, for they are spoken for thy good. Give ear to his admonition, for it proceedeth from love. Admonition is counsel, warning, gentle reproof. That might mean criticism. Reprimand firmly. That's harsher criticism, right? Reprimand is a formal statement of disapproval. It ain't always all smiles and giggles, right? You messing up out here. Now you need to listen, right? You might have to get a little aggressive, like, look, you need to listen. And they're supposed to listen to it. They're supposed to give ear to, even, like, who wants to hear criticism, right? None of us like to be criticized, but it's like sometimes, we just need to shut up and listen. It proceedeth from love, right? Proceedeth, that means this is where it comes from. You might not think it's coming from love because you want to do something else, but no, this is why you need to listen, right? Because your parents aren't telling you this stuff so they can steal some money from you, right? So we can fool you into taking this shot. We're going to inject some stuff into you. We ain't even going to tell you what's in the shot. No, we're not doing that. Your government is doing this. All types of people trying to get over on you. They've been trying to destroy you from birth. As soon as you're born, they're lined up with all these jabs. I'm going to stick him with this. He needs to get this vaccine. He needs to do this. They want to start messing you up from birth. We're the only ones looking out for you. You need to hear the words, right? Even if it's criticism, you must listen to these instructions, right? He hath watched for thy welfare, he hath toiled for thy ease. Do honor therefore to his age, and let not his gray hairs be treated with irreverence, right? More instructions, proof of the Father's love, right? Protects them, right? Caring for them, have toiled for thy ease, working to try to make things easier for them, to make, their life more comfortable. But when he does these things, the parents, to make your life more comfortable, it's not so that you can get complacent. It's not so that you can take it for granted. It's so that your life will be easier, right? So that you can take things and go even further than your own parents did. They want you to be greater than them. So they don't do these things for no reason. They want you to be even greater, right? Want you to have a nice, easy life growing up so that you can take things further. Not so that you can get complacent and, take things for granted. So respect them, honor them. Forget not thy helpless infancy, right? You were vulnerable. Nor the forwardness of thy youth. And indulge the infirmities of thy aged parents and assist and support them in the decline of life. Forget not thy helpless infancy, right? You're an infant. You were helpless. You were always dependent on someone. And even though you don't remember, you couldn't even use the bathroom. You just doo-dooed on yourself. Somebody was changing your nasty diapers. Nobody wants to deal with human doo-doo. Like, nobody wants to do that. Your parents did it. They fed you. You threw up on them. You got food everywhere. You were difficult, and they didn't care. They did it. And then the forwardness of thy youth, you getting forward, meaning you thinking you know everything, right? And you being rash and harsh. Maybe you're trying to talk back. They've been your age before. They already know better, but they got to deal with you being a know-it-all, rebellious. They did all that. They dealt with it. You need to remember that, right? You need to favor them and take care of them. You need to understand, like, this is being told because this is how all of us should think. This should just be known by, these are divine instructions. This should just be ingrained in our head so that we know this, so that we don't act foolish, right? So shall their hoary heads go down to the grave in peace, and thine own children, in reverence of thy example, shall repay thy piety with filial love, right? So this is the ideal. Not saying that this is how it always works out, but if we're wise, we see this, we see the wisdom in this, and we also, even if we don't see the wisdom in it, we believe that these are divine instructions from the Creator, and this will work out for our greatest good if we honor them. And so, and that's all I really had to say in closing. But this is also why, on a basic level, why we would just go over on Sundays the Quran questionnaire every Sunday, and why every Friday we go through the Quran. We go through a chapter in the Quran, because each and every one of these divine instructions we should know. These should be divine instructions that we use for guidance throughout our life, that we refer back to, so that when things come up in life, we have wisdom from the Creator of the universe to use to get us through them, right? So that's why we would do it, every Friday we do a chapter, and every Sunday we do the Quran questionnaire. That's why it's not monotonous. Anybody that thinks they don't need to do this, like, how dare you even think like that, right? But this is why we do that, because we're supposed to know these by heart so that we can refer to these divine instructions throughout our life. We all should know this. And guess what? Nobody else is going to teach you. Only place you're going to learn it is in the Moorish Science Temple of America, because it's the only place that holds to the divine instruction from the prophet. Everybody else want to be part of Rome and follow the ways of Rome and just do whatever they want to do. And to be inconstant, always flipping from one thing to the next. That's not how you get into the mystery system. Who knows what trials and tribulations you had to go through to prove yourself even worthy of coming into the ancient mystery system. I'm only sharing that just to say that it takes perseverance and strength of character. And I commend you all for being here, and especially those of you who've been here for years, right? Because you see, everybody don't make it through. But and that's no judgment. It just is what it is. We're not going to hide from the truth. So just going back to this, I will open up the floor to questions or comments regarding this chapter. Anybody wants to demonstrate, please feel free to demonstrate from your point of view. Everybody in here, almost everybody has children. Feel free to share your experience and why you think the children need to know this. Everyone needs to. And on that note, I yield the floor. Islam.
Islam. First and foremost, I'd like to rise and give perfect praise to our Father God Allah. Honors to his prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Honors to all of Allah's prophets. Islam. Honors to the forerunner of the prophet, Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Honors to the first appointed Supreme Grand Sheikh. Can I be heard? Islam. If you can hear me, press 1. I think the screen is down. Islam. Honors to the first appointed Supreme Grand Sheikh, our brother Eid Millie Ill. Honors to all you Muslims in attendance on this beautiful holy day. I like to add my 5 senses, to just exercise my 5 senses rather. This was a very good demonstration, because it is extremely difficult to raise our children, in society that, like the brother said, that is against us and against our way of living, because this is a system that is set up, and the system has a consciousness and a hunger, and they have to feed the system. And so everybody who participates in the system, in the rat race, they are subject to, harm, to abuse, to miseducation, to everything, because the system is created for, the healthcare industry and the food. Unfortunately, the food makes you sick, so the healthcare industry can produce medications and things that they say make you better, but actually make you worse. So it's a vicious cycle that we're going through, and that's just one example. And also with the other side of the system, with the media, the entertainment, there's so many ways that they created to get paid. And they said money is the root of all evil, so people are doing any and everything to get that money. And that includes harming others consciously, manipulating the visuals that they put out, the music, everything that they put out is always a catch-22. Yes, you like it, yes, you're entertained, but it's feeding your lower self and keeping you away from your higher self, Islam. And I notice a lot of people walking around are sleep deprived, so exhausted, and you cannot function as your higher self if you're tired. There's no way, because the only thing, if you're tired and sleep deprived, the only thing that is keeping you going in that aspect is your ego. You have to eat or be eaten. You have to grind, you have to go get it. And that, unfortunately, is destroying us as a people, because then the savagery kicks in. And so our children are coming up with all these distractions. In every generation, it gets worse, right? It gets worse. I used to hear the elders saying that life used to be a lot more simpler than it is today. Yes, we have a lot more technology and information at our fingertips and whatnot, but we're losing the skills that our fathers and grandfathers and great, because it used to be how societies were set up. Like, one family was known for baking, so they make the bread, right? The parents pass that knowledge down to their children, and then like the blacksmiths, they deal with the metals. and the shoe, the shoemakers, they deal with the shoes. So it was industry, but it was skills that was passed down to keep society going. So they're taking that away from us. So nobody knows how to do anything. So you're dependent on the system to take care of you. So nobody knows how to build houses. Nobody knows plumbing. Nobody knows how to cook. It's crazy how many of my peers do not know how to cook, right? So we're eating out all the time, and we're getting the bad stuff that comes along with that. We're not knowing how to take care of ourselves. And so it is extremely rare for people to want to know right knowledge and to raise their children in right knowledge. Because even if you're going that way, you have to be the example. You have to show discipline. You have to be cooler than everything else that they see, right? And you can't always do that if you're always busy or always working or whatever, because then they don't see you, so everything else is raising them. So we have to make a conscious decision to chill and be with our children as much as we can and show them in everyday life how to apply these lessons so that they can have a chance, to come up and understand our culture and traditions and our ways. Because if we don't pass it down to them and show them, that it's cool to apply these lessons and how it is extremely beneficial, and they don't see you coming up from, where we started from and rising up. Because every year with these lessons, you're supposed to see an extreme change in your lifestyle and your well-being, your health, your finances. Everything is supposed to be advancing if you're applying these knowledge, these teachings. And if they don't see that, they're like, this is crap. This is just like the church is no better. So as a collective, we need to get together more physically and do things with our children so that they could have, these visuals and these lessons in front of their faces. And if any parents on the call is having any difficulties with these, things, reach out. We are here. We have 5 children. We're raising them in Islamism, and they understand. They bring their friends over here. Their friends are in holy day with us. Like, we don't play games, and we make it where it's understandable. They don't think it's weird or crazy. It makes sense. So they appreciate it. So definitely reach out, and that's what nation building is all about. You can't always just keep it in your household. You have to start, educating people around you, co-workers, neighbors, so that they can understand, like, this is real for us. And as long as we're doing it for real, we're gonna get the respect that we deserve and the assistance. Islam, I yield the floor.
Islam, and gratitude, sister, for sharing your measure, Islam. All right. Does anyone else have any comments or questions? Anyone else like to demonstrate? All right, Islam, I see you, brother Yabe. I yield the floor.
Islamism. Thank you, Grand Sheik. I rise to my highest heights, giving all perfect praises to our Father, God Allah, the Father of the universe. I also like to give honors to all the divine prophets, Noble Jew Ali, as our prophet in these days and times. I just wanted to talk about it from from a child's perspective, learning. We all was children, so interestingly so, we're adults that's on this line. Um, when we was growing up, a lot of the times the things that grabbed our attention, most of the time, what we thought was cool, some of those things was good for us, some of those things was bad for us. At least when I look at the Moorish Science Temple of America, my idea in my mind is how do, for the younger generation coming up, how do we make this cool? Because we have the information and knowledge to give to them. That is a part of that as well as building this, because for real, they are the guiders, the future guiders of the nation. If we can't present this to them in a way that they can understand it and they can say, you know what, I like this. I want to do this. I want to make some sneakers with this on there. I want to ingrain this in my culture in every way. Okay. I want a website like this. We're gonna sell Moorish teas and ointments. We're gonna sell Nikes with the logos on it, or not even like Nikes. We might even meet somebody that actually do shoes and we can collab with them. This creativity. So when I hear this, that's what I think of. I see the future being bright. So thank y'all again for having these meetings and allowing everybody to be a part of them and allowing people to speak when the floor is open. With that, I said peace and love. Islamism.
Islam, brother, Islam. I wanted to say something to what you said, because you right on point with that comment, because the only thing that we got to do is give money. Like we can't be bums with it, and that's 100, keeping it all the way 100. Like if all the more step they game up to the level of successful CEOs, or just making the money and living wealthy, that's gonna get everybody's attention. Islam, because like for example, we was in Miami the summertime, right? And we had a Maybach, but we were in our turbans and in the fez. So people was like, yo, those are Moors, like and it's like that made more people look at being a Moor than anything we've ever talked about, for real. Any real gems that we ever dropped, people want to see that visual, because that's what society says is cool. So if we just step our game up and we pretty much just pop out, waterfall, not the drip, it's a wrap. So we just got to get our finances up, for real. Islam?
Islam. Yeah, gratitude. I was gonna say the same thing, because like if everything else that they're looking at, like if they're looking at rappers and they're like, yeah, you could be a criminal, you could, be, loose sexually and all this stuff, and look at me getting riches, even though they're not gonna, like, in real life, people's not gonna be living like that. They can see that and try to picture themselves, living like that and being successful. And so that's going to be appealing. And everything else, right? They can look at all the other stuff that's promoted by Rome. They can look at and see themselves being successful in it. So, if you coming into this, and it's like coming into this, it's just like if you wanted to convert to Judaism, you go and talk to the rabbis, right? The European Jews, like the rabbis, they're going to tell you, they're going to try to talk you out of it, because I'm like, well, you're going to have to do this. You're going to have to do this. And like, so coming in to be a Moor, it's like, we got work to do. We have to clean ourselves up. And so if we're telling people like, we got to do all this stuff, there's got to be some kind of benefits, like earthly benefits that people could see. So like, yeah, we have to be successful at the end of the day. People got to see that, so that they can, feel like, that there's they have to see something so that they can be motivated to get it. Because in Rome, you can be motivated to get BBLs and all this stuff, because you see people with OnlyFans pages and stuff. This girl's making $1 million off OnlyFans, even though most people do it ain't gonna make even 10,000. right? But they see that, and so they motivate. So, they have to see Moors being successful, and that don't mean that we all have to be rolling in, Maybachs, even though we can. They don't have to see us being flashy and all this stuff, just knowing that we successful. Like, we really build our own city. If we got our own town, we're not out here pretending. Like, there's Moors that's pretending that they got their own government, their own police. And I just saw some of those Moors that do that. I won't say who they are, but I just saw like 4 or 5 days ago, the police came to their little headquarters and arrested one of them. And I'm also only saying this because if we're doing it for real, we won't have to make videos and try to tell. We just can do it for real. Our children will see that we're doing it for real. Others will, and they'll say, hey, I want to assist, Because it's just like if some regular Black people who don't even consider themselves Moors, that, there's some that's saying they want to build their Black Wall Street. They want to build Tulsa, Oklahoma back up. If they do it for real, some people's going to want to assist and take part in that. So they just have to see us doing it and being successful, growing our own food. And the right people will want to come in and assist. The ones who want to grow their own food too, they're going to come in and help. Some of them will even be willing to help build it, roll their sleeves up and build it, So they just have to see us being industrious and getting out here and doing it, right? And that's going to make people come and, come on board, the right kind of people. Because like people who like aren't going to help, they don't really want it anyway, man. They want Rome. Can't save everybody. But the ones who want better, they're going to come on board. They see us doing it and not just talking about it. Islam. All right, Islam, Brother Haynes, I yield the floor.
Yeah, Islam. So I just wanted to comment on what you said, like far as us like having children. And also you had made a comment about the 12-step ladder, and also Noble Ali bringing us the Egyptian mystery system. And so my build on this is that I believe that we should all go through that Egyptian mystery system, because it states that Jesus is like the perfect example, and all of us is Jesus Christ. And if you look into chapter 4, verse 7, it says about the way which he was protected from the wrath of evil men, about his flight into Egypt land. And so going to Egypt land, I represents that as kind of like the Egyptian mystery system, and also the evil men, which represents the lower nature, because you're being attacked. As soon as you start this journey, you're going to be attacked. And also too, when you go all the way down to verse 11, it says, and when I first saw Jesus, he was climbing up a 12-step ladder, and he carried in his hands a compass, square, and an axe. And so that, I believe that's what it was talking about, as far as like the 12-step ladder, and he got that in his hands. And also he went through Egypt. Yep. And with that, I give up the mic. So that's just kind of like my build with the 12-step ladder, because he went through it himself and went through Egypt. And with that, I give up the mic.
Islam, brother, and gratitude. And so, like you said, it's for all of us. It's not like we're just saying, oh, worship Jesus, he was the Son of God. No, it says in the scripture, we're all sons of the Most High. And then Jesus even said that himself, right? And so we're all supposed to become the Christ, right? And so if we're willing to do the work to defeat this foe, this carnal nature that became a foe, so that we could overcome and be the strength of Allah made manifest, if we're willing to do that, we will be the Christ. Each and every one of us, right? This was decreed. Let every living thing stand still and hear. Man is the Lord of all the plane, of manifest, of protoplasm, of mineral, of plant, of beast, but he gave up his birthrights just to gratify his lower self. It does not say in here that the angels were made to bow down to us, but that's in the scripture as well. That's in the Quran of Mecca, right? But we must subdue the lower self. So as long as we're up for that internal battle, we will all do this. Man will be fully saved, redeemed, perfected by the things he suffers on the plane of flesh and on the plane of soul. So all of this is happening for a reason. We're going to conquer it. And if you're on this path, you know, more than likely that's why you're here. If you're on the path, that's what we're here to do. And that's what you're here to do, Islam. And I yield the floor, Brother Jackson Bey, Islam.
Peace and love. Can y'all hear me?
Islam.
Islam, I just wanted to say praise Allah, honest to the Prophet, and honest to the Muslims and the Moors. But I wanted to say, pardon me. We gotta, as far as our kids, I would say we need to direct our kids to, you know, financial security. And one way is through the trades and having trades, because to build up a nation, you actually have to have builders too, along with people that have ideas and uh along with people that got ideas. We got to have trades. People got to know how to build a house themselves. Even Jesus was a carpenter. And understanding the symbolic meaning of tools and actually knowing how to use the tools in the same breath. You feel me? So like that's what I wanted to add, because if we're gonna build the nation, we gotta actually build. If not, somebody else gonna come in and build it for us. Like, for example, everybody jokes about Mexicans, them building roofs and stuff. But do you know how much it costs to get a roof put on? Like a home on a homeowner side, it costs a lot of money, and they're pocketing the money, and that could be money. And we're homegrown Americans. We from this side of the border, and this ain't no, you know, this towards them, but for our nation, we need to know I live in Dayton. It's so much repair work to houses, and most people that live in the Midwest and in Ohio, if you go around your inner city where predominantly our people live, if we had these skills, like Sister Douglas L said earlier, if we had these skills, we could come in and then start rehabbing these homes and actually doing it ourselves. So now it puts us in a different level, and then we have more self-respect for ourselves, because we can't easily be manipulated to do anything for money. Why? Because we got good paying, good needed trades. And then that's part of what I feel like Drew Ali was getting at, upstanding citizens. Most people that got trade jobs, they gotta be somewhere at a certain time every day. And not only do they gotta be somewhere, and yes, they are working for somebody, but most of the skills that you acquire on a job can be used for like side jobs. Like for me, for example, I know how to do concrete. On the side job, I could go to work for somebody and be a servant, and then on the weekend I could be a master. And I just got paid twice. And what I got paid more for the side job, and I'm still being an upstanding citizen, paying my taxes. You know, just being an upstanding citizen. You know what I mean? I'm not. You can't smoke, you can't drink on the job, right? You gotta have some type of level of discipline, especially for certain jobs you gotta go on to. So that's just also, and that's just aligning with the principles. I think I'm over talking right now, but I think y'all get what I'm saying. Peace and love, Islam.
Islam and gratitude, brother. And yeah, I agree. And yeah, definitely on every aspect. Like I witnessed that. My granddad, he did construction, and then he was doing his own business, laying asphalt down on the side. And you know, we could use those skills to build our own communities. Of course, we could do it for other people too, but to build our own and then not have to rely on anyone. And then we can come in maybe to some of these neighborhoods that we could get for cheap, and we could build it up how we want it to be, you know? So that's, yeah, definitely. And the opportunities there, you know, the opportunities are endless.
Islam.
Actually in a perfect situation, because ain't nobody seeing us as a threat. Nobody thinks we gonna accomplish anything. We could just come in and build our nation, because nobody's looking out for us. They really think lowly of us. Like they don't think the so-called Black people are gonna do anything. Islam. Okay, Islam, brother Hainzel, I yield the floor.
Yeah, Islam. So and I was basically trying to get a better understanding of in chapter 17 when it talks about Apollo and the silent brotherhood of Greece. And so that I know from like ancient mythology, Apollo was like a god of oracles, and he also was dealing with light. And so right here it says Jesus appeared fully materialized before Apollo and the silent brotherhood in Greece, and appeared to Claudius and Juliet Tiber near Rome, and appeared to the priests in the Egyptian temple of Hippolytus. And also it says that Apollo with the silent brotherhood of Greece was sitting in Delphian Grove. The oracle had spoken loud and long. And so I was trying to get like a better understanding. Is that really talking about like Apollo, or what is the understanding of that from our perspective? And who is actually the silent brotherhood? I know you said something about a sacred brotherhood, and it's also talking about the silent brotherhood. And with that, I give up the mic.
Islam, the silent brotherhood is the sacred brotherhood. I was just saying that we keep silent that which is sacred. And it's not like or keep secret that which is sacred. And it's not like keeping it secretive to control others like what we see being done to us. It's just that we need to exercise strength and mastery over our lower self before we get some of these keys that connect you to divinity within, which is why that was like the first verse in chapter 24. From the secrets of Allah, let man learn wisdom and apply to himself the instruction they give. But you have to show that you're going to apply it, right? So that's why it's sacred. That's why it's secret. Because if I wasn't alive in ancient Egypt. Well, at least Lloyd Douglas L wasn't alive in ancient Egypt. So, if you're going through the mystery schools, you have to exercise mastery over your lower self to prove that you are worthy for the keys and the higher degrees that you will get. And so, and then they're saying that this is in different places in the world. That's too why I was sharing the measures from Stolen Legacy, because in Stolen Legacy, I think he mentioned that there was a order of the mystery system in Greece, right? So in these different places that Jesus traveled to in our Holy Koran, when he travels, doesn't mean that he's a member of that order in those places he goes to. It's just that they recognize each other, right? We recognize each other through signs and symbols. And so he sees, okay, these are enlightened people here. So where he goes, he goes to people that's on his level that he can build with. And so that's what that would be talking about. And Islam, I hope that answered your question. Islam, brother. All right, Islam. Are there any other questions or comments? Okay, Islam, if there's no other questions or comments, we're going to go ahead and go into the closing of the meeting. Don't go anywhere. We're going to read the divine warning. A divine warning by the prophet for the nations. The citizens of all free national governments, according to their national constitution, are all of one family bearing one free are classed as undesirables and are subject to all inferior names and abuses and mistreatments that the citizens care to bestow upon them. And it is a sin for any group of people to violate the national constitutional laws of a free national government and cling to the names and the principles that delude to slavery. I, the prophet, was prepared by the great God Allah to warn my people to repent from their sinful ways and go back to the state of mind, to their forefathers' divine and national principles, that they will be law abiders and receive their divine right as citizens according to the free national constitution that was prepared for all free national beings. They are to claim their own free national name and religion. There is but one issue for them to be recognized by this government and of the earth, and it comes only through the connection of the Moorish divine national movement, which is incorporated in this government and recognized by all other nations of the world. And through it, they and their children can receive their divine rights unmolested by other citizens, that they can cast a free national ballot at the polls under the free national constitution of the state's government, and not under a granted privilege, as has been the existing condition for many generations. You who doubt whether I, the prophet, and my principles are right for the redemption of my people, go to those that know the law in the city hall and among the officials in your government, and ask them under an intelligent tone, and they will be glad to render you a favorable reply. For they are glad to see me bring you out of darkness into light. Money doesn't make the man. It is free national standards and power that makes a man and a nation. The wealth of all national governments, gold and silver and commerce, belong to the citizens alone. And without your national citizenship, by name and principles, you have no true wealth. And I am hereby calling on all true citizens that stand for a national free government and the enforcement of the Constitution to help me in my great missionary work, because I need all support from all true American citizens of the United States of America. Help me to save my people who have fallen from the constitutional laws of the government. I am depending on your support to get them back to the constitutional fold again, that they will learn to love instead of hate, and will live according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, supporting our free national constitution of the United States of America. I love my people, and I desire their unity and mine back to their own free national and divine standard, because day by day they have been violating the national and constitutional laws of their government by claiming names and principles that are unconstitutional. If Italians, Greeks, English, Chinese, Japanese, Turks, and Arabians are forced to proclaim their free national name and religion before the constitutional government of the United States of America, it is no more than right that the law should be enforced upon all other American citizens alike. In all other governments, when a man is born and raised there and asks for his national descent name, and if he fails to give it, he is misused, imprisoned, or exiled. Any group of people that fail to answer up to the constitutional standards of law by name and principles, because to be a citizen of any government, you must claim your national descent name, because they place their trust upon issue and names formed by their forefathers. The word Negro deludes in the Latin language to the word nigger, the same as the word colored deludes to anything that is painted, varnished, and dyed. And every nation must bear a national descent name of their forefathers, because honoring thy fathers and thy mothers, your days will be lengthened upon this earth. These names have never been recognized by any true American citizens of this day. Through your free national name, you are known and recognized by all nations of the earth that are recognized by said national government in which they live. The 14th and 15th Amendments brought the North and South in unit, placing the Southerners, who were at that time without power, with the constitutional body of power. And at that time, 1865, the free national constitutional law that was in force since 1774 declared all men equal and free. And if all men are declared by the free national constitution to be free and equal, since that constitution has never been changed, there is no need for the application of the 14th and 15th Amendments for the salvation of our people and citizens. So, there isn't but one supreme issue for my people to use to redeem that which was lost, and that is through the above statements. Then the lion and the lamb can lie down together in yonder hills, and neither will be harmed, because love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice will be reigning in this land. In those days, the United States will be one of the greatest civilized and prosperous governments of the world. But if the above principles are not carried out by the citizens and my people in this government, the worst is yet to come. Because the great God of the universe is not pleased with the works that are being performed in North America by my people, and this great sin must be removed from the land to save it from enormous earthquakes, disease, etc. And I, the prophet, do herein believe that this administration of the government, being more wisely prepared by more genius citizens that believe in their free national constitution and laws, and through the help of such classes of citizens, I, the prophet, truly believe that my people will find the true and divine way of their forefathers and learn to stop serving carnal customs and merely ideas of man that have never done them any good but have always harmed them. So I, the prophet, am hereby calling aloud with the divine plea to all true American citizens to help me to remove this great sin which has been committed and is being practiced by my people in the United States of America, because they know it is not the true and divine way, and without understanding they have fallen from the true light into utter darkness of sin. And there is not a nation on earth today that will recognize them socially, religiously, politically, or economically, etc., in their present condition of their endeavorment in which they themselves try to force upon a civilized world. They will not refrain from their sinful ways of action, and their deeds have brought Jim Crowism human beings on earth. And they fought the Southerner for all these great misuses, but I have traveled in the South and have examined conditions there, and it is the works of my people continuously practicing the things which bring dishonor, disgrace, and disrespect to any nation that lives the life. And I am hereby calling on all true American citizens for moral support and finance to help me in my great missionary work to bring my people out of darkness into marvelous light. From the prophet. Okay, Islam Moors. Before we close, just want to remind everybody to go to the website, MoorishAmericans.com. You can send us a donation there. You could just use the donate button or that QR code at the bottom of the page to send a donation. And that's MoorishAmericans.com. And then also, I'll put the call out there for new members. If there's anyone, maybe if we put this up on YouTube later, is anyone, especially in Ohio, mainly in Ohio, that wants to join and proclaim your nationality, feel free to reach out to us. Just use that contact button. There's a contact form on the website, or you could call us and just let us know. We'll meet up and talk to you and move forward from there. And on that note, let's go ahead and close out. All meetings are to be opened and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I ask that everyone please rise and face the east for the closing prayer. You do not need to repeat after me. Allah, bind our hearts and minds back to our ancient forefathers' divine creed and principles. We ask this in thy holy name and the seven Elohim. Amen. Islam. Happy Holy Day, Moors. Peace and love.
Islam, happy holy day.
Islam family, happy holy day.
Peace. Happy holy day.
Islam, happy holy day.